Okay, Scott. This is your car here. This is a Mustang.
The 2000 Mustang V6.
Uh-huh. Is it? It's like a convertible thing. It's just like
No,
convertible.
it's a V6 coupe.
Now, what's the difference between? Because my grandpa has like a Mustang convertible at home, and you got a Mustang coupe. Now, what's the difference between the two? Do you
It's
know?
just this has a fixed roof where the convertible it's got a soft top that'll actually retract.
Oh, so you can't put the thing
No,
down.
not
Yeah.
on this one. Nope.
Well, that's not totally a bad thing. You know, something I remember one time I went like in his car a few times when I was a kid and had top down, and then after a drive I would feel like real woozy because he had top down. I'm like, what's wrong with me? Okay, so you got this car, now you got this in, now, when did you, I'll go ahead and scan this again. When did you actually get this car?
It's a 2000. I got it in August 2010, so I've had it almost 4 years now.
Was it a Craigslist ad?
Yes.
Oh, it was a Craigslist ad. And
Yes.
where was the owner? Where was the owner
It was in
from?
Wilmington, as a matter of fact. Yeah. So made the trip up there, and I'd looked at several others, and I wanted a stick shift, and it was hard to find one with a stick at the time. It just seemed like most of them were automatics, and I just was really impressed with this one, the condition of it. It was just a summer car for the previous owner. He didn't drive it in the winter, and it had been really well cared for. And so once I saw it, I knew it was the one I wanted.
Well, go ahead here. Now, what kind of seats you got?
These seats have been changed. These are seats out of a 2003 Mach 1. They're just the sportier seats with the bolsters. Just have a nicer feel to them. It's just a kind of firmer, more supportive seat. It just had cloth seats in it when I got it, and I just like these a lot better.
Okay, now the steering wheel wise, is this like original steering wheel or
Original steering wheel, it's leather wrapped.
all leather wrapped?
Yeah. The most of the interior is original. I did repaint the center stack there silver, and the cups on the doors silver as well, just to kind of pick up the silver stripe in the seat. The Mach 1s just have the center stack painted silver, but I just kind of took the liberty of doing the door cups too.
Oh, okay. Now, what kind of car does your dad have?
Oh, that's a 2001 Lexus ES300.
So you guys were always into cars, both of you?
Well, yeah, I think so. I think that's where I got it from. My dad had a lot of now classics, but just regular cars, you know, as when he was younger and as I was growing up. But yeah, I think that's kind of where I got my love of cars. He had, I can remember when I was little, he had a 65 Thunderbird, and he'd also, prior to that, he'd had a 63 Galaxy, and he'd had a 56 Thunderbird, and my mom had a 57 Fairlane 500 convertible. So yeah, I think I get it pretty honestly from both of them.
Which was the car that made you? What do you remember a car when you were a kid where he had one, or is it something you saw like at at like a car show or something? What car as a child made you? Was there ever a particular car that made you fall in love with cars?
That's a good question. Probably I'd say probably the Mustang, the old Mustang there. We've had that one almost since new, and that's probably what really turned me on. I mean, I think I've just always been enamored with cars ever since I knew what they were, but I think that's really was kind of my foray into classic and collector cars was the Mustangs.
Did you ever thought about going into something like any kind of car work? Like, yeah, I mean, I'm not talking about. I see you work here all the time out in your yard, being my neighbor and stuff. But I was wondering if you ever thought about ever working at Firestone or ever working with cars at all.
Well, yeah, I have thought about that. I'm actually thinking about if I can find the right job, making a change. I would like to do something that's car oriented. I've done a lot of side work for people. I've done some upholstery work in the past. Done some detailing on their cars. I worked on a car last year as a 64.5 Mustang convertible and spent 2 months detailing the engine compartment for the owner, and I enjoy doing that kind of thing. And if I could do that sort of thing all the time, I think I'd really be happy. I love just restoration work, the whole aspect of it. If I could get into the right place and doing that kind of work, I think I'd really enjoy it, and I think I'd really be happy.
There's a couple of car salesmen. Was you ever want to even do? There's a lot of like a good car dealerships. There's a lot of car dealerships like in the Tri-County area.
Right.
You ever thought about maybe being a car salesman? One of those
I had, and I'd actually applied at a couple dealerships, but just kind of decided it really wasn't for me because the car salesmen just pretty much work off commission, and you really gotta push and really gotta hustle to make your money, and I tend to be. That's why I've been told by a lot of people I'm too honest to be a car salesman. So I don't know. I don't. I just kind of I thought about it and did interview a couple different times with places, but just kind of decided it wasn't really for me.
I wasn't ready for you. Oh, what place did you go? Did you go to Tri-County?
Yeah, I think so. I'm trying to remember where it was. It seemed like the Saturn dealer that used to be there, and I believe there was a Ford dealership I applied at one time. So it's been a number of years ago.
Well, I remember seeing one or two cars. I was up there not too long ago. I'm trying to think what street that was. But I remember, of course, where Tri-County Mall is, where the bookstore is, like across the street and stuff, and the multiplex.
Kemper Road.
Yeah, I remember seeing a car dealership like right by there. I can't
Right,
remember what name
Jake Sweeney, which is the Chevrolet dealer. They got in Mazda, and then they got a Chrysler dealership in there, and there's a BMW dealership. So yeah, they got, and then there's like a Ford dealership on the next block. So yeah, there's quite an assortment down there.
Jeez. So, Mustangs, what is it about the Mustang that really stokes your furnace?
That's a good question too. I don't know what it is. It's just always been the design. They've always been unique. They've always just had that very distinct look. And when you see one, there's no mistaking that's what it is. And where so many cars, one looks like the other. And that's one of the reasons why I like the older cars, because they all had more personality. They had more character. I just like the designs of them better. They stood out more, and I think a lot of other people feel that way too. The new cars all tend to look a little bit generic, and a lot of times you look at them and you can't tell one from the next.
Well, that one. This is a new. Well, this is a much more recent car. This is after 2000. So
well, it is a 2000.
Well,
so.
this is. I mean, this is a 21st century car. Actually, I like the look of this probably better than I do like old Mustangs.
I like it. I mean, it was a design when it first came out. I wasn't sure how I felt about it, but then the more I'd seen them and the more it was around them, the more I decided I really liked it. Now I'm just really in love with this design, and I've done quite a bit to the car since I've had it. Made several modifications to it. I've changed things like the wheels and the exhaust and the seats we talked about earlier. There have been some things that the previous owner had done to it, like put the cowl induction hood on it and a short throw shifter and a cold air intake. So it's had some money spent on it, but it's worth it to me. I enjoy it.
Oh, okay. Now, this is a silver color, which is a really nice color. Did you want? Was there any other color Mustang you ever wanted?
Well, I think that as far as this body style is concerned, probably if I could have found a blue or possibly a green, I would have liked that. The silver I like. It's very common. You see a lot of this color, but I like it though. It's a good color. I mean, silver's always been a pretty good color. It's not one of those that some of the colors they come out with tend to be a little bit faddish. And, they're popular for a while and then they kind of fall out of favor, but silver's always been popular, and I think it always will be popular.
Well, wait, got a car. Land. Can I talk to you about pricing?
Sure.
What did the guy, you said you found this on Craigslist, I know.
Yes.
How much did the guy offer you for? How much you parked up?
What was he? What did he have it for sale for? He was asking $5,500. I got it for $5,000.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, I think I did really well on it. Because a lot of times, the mileage is a lot higher, and they still ask pretty good price for it. This had 69,000 miles on it when I first got it, and now it's just turned over 119.
So what's the most that you ever? How many people like you talked to about cars? How many people have you met online for cars? Is this the first time?
I've talked to different ones. I've gone and looked at other cars. A lot of times, ones I've looked at haven't met my expectations. They can look really good in pictures, but you really have to see a car in person to really get a feel for what it is and see how well it's been cared for. A lot of times there'll be a lot of flaws and things that you won't see in the pictures, but then when you inspect it in person, you'll see it. So more often than not, a lot of these cars have been just not to my expectations when I actually showed up to look at them.
Well, you were able to bet some and get $500 knocked off that price. How was the first you ever be able to get knocked off for a car?
It needed tires. The tires need to be replaced.
Oh.
So because of that,
I was wondering if you had like any. Have you had like even like when you like negotiate with an owner, how much maybe you're able to knock off for a car?
I'd say, yeah, usually a few hundred. I don't know if I've done a whole lot more than that or not. It's hard to remember. There's been so many cars that have been in my past, but I'd say maybe on average, maybe like $500-600, something like that. May have been a little less than that. I bought one from a dealer one time, and they were asking considerably more than what the car was worth, and that's just the way dealers will do, because they will try to make as much money on them as possible. And I think I offered them about $3,000 less than what they were asking, and they took it. So, and they probably still made money on it, even at the price they sold it to me for. I'm sure they still made money on it.
Okay, what's the most you ever heard of someone? Is there anyone in your family? What's the most you ever heard of someone getting knocked off of a price? I mean, in your family or otherwise, friends?
Probably about that. Probably around 3,000, I guess.
Okay. Well, this is such a beautiful car.
Thank you.
Just beautiful. Now, I want to go ahead. Oh, hold on for a second. Yeah, that is very nice. Gonna hold onto this one for a while?
I plan to, yes.
Oh, cool.
Yep.